What will be, will be. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I tell them tenderly. Hey, said I, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, said I, what will be, will be. Hey, said I.
When waiting for a council house, a radio play by Mel Higgs. Play is set in 1957 in and around a run-down keeper's cottage on Wadham Chase. Ruth Felton is 35 years old. She has 4 boys, aged 11, 8, 6 and 5. Her eldest is living with his granny, who lives in a village called Nash. Her husband, Jack, loads the lorries at Fletton's Brickworks. Ruth, the mother, Jack, the father. Peter is 8, and Matthew and Mark are his younger brothers. Mr. Batchelor is a school attendance officer. Mr. and Mrs. Beagle, a couple who live in a bungalow that's down the lane. Bob Spink, a down-and-out nature lover who has befriended Peter, and a Ukrainian. Ruth sits on an old iron bed. Brass knobs are dented. There is an old wardrobe, an oil lamp, a bedside table and 1 chair. The picture on the wall is Millet's Bubbles. Ruth wears a pinafore dress. She's consoling Peter, whose cat Blackie has been killed.
You really love Blackie, and I know you always will. Your Blackie has gone to heaven, where God will take good care of him.
Ruth holds Peter close. She looks into his eyes.
We must all wait to go to heaven, and in God's good time. It's the way it is, and always will be. Listen to me, my angel. Promise me you'll never do that again. You tried to kill yourself, and that's the worst sin. Remember, I'm your mother and I love you. You thought you could be with your cat again. I know that. Yes, I do know that.
There are heavy footsteps coming up the stairs.
Your father's back. Best you keep out of his way for a while.
Peter is caught before he is able to leave the bedroom.
Oi, boy, what are you up to up there, fussing around your mother again?
His father smacks his son on the back of his head.
Leave him alone and you listen to me. I married you for better or worse, in sickness and in health. But I could never have dreamed I would have to bring up our children like this.
What the hell are you gabbling on about now, woman?
You went off to work on Friday and I haven't seen hide or hair of you since. Where have you been, Jack?
Yeah, it's alright for you. I've been working like a slave.
Jack, I'm down to flour, margarine and spats. The children need more than that. The money goes on your gambling. And you leave me to manage on bits and pieces. You just don't care. Do you have a heart, Jack? We might as well not have had any children for all you care. And don't ignore what I'm saying, Jack. Not now. And Jack, while you were away, Peter's cat Blackie was killed by one of your snares.
Jack, in a vacant way, shows Ruth the palms of his hands.
That Peter's a bloody soften and a bloody daydreamer. He'll get another cat. There's loads of them all over the place. There's too many of them for my liking.
Jack starts unbuckling his belt.
Now look, you know what I want. Get into bed and turn over.
Jack pushes Ruth back onto the bed. Under the sheets, she faces the wall while he thrusts away at her.
It's always the same.
Yeah, and what do you mean by that then?
You just take me. You never love me. There are no soft words, no gentleness. You have your way, and that's all there is to it.
Oh, shut up, you bloody silly woman.
They sit up
Bloody
in
daft.
bed. Jack starts to roll the fag.
Jack, will you go to my mother's and bring Francis back to me? I can't stop thinking about him, and it's making me ill. You agreed before I let you touch me that if I became pregnant, you would take Francis on. You do remember what you promised when we met?
Are you bloody mad? You go on about hardly managing here, and you want Francis back?
I'll manage somehow. I'm begging you to bring him to me.
Jack goes to the window and shouts to his youngest two, whom he's seen are playing in the long grass.
Oi, you two skylarking again out there. Watch out for them adders, they're all over the place.
No need to scare the living daylight out of them. Bob Spink sleeps in the open, and he told me he hasn't seen another for years.
Jack shuts the window and turns to Ruth.
I'm working again tonight.
We are not safe here, and you know the kids have to sleep with me while you're away.
Jack finishes making the roll up and doesn't light it. He dips down the stairs and returns with a shotgun. He stands it by the windowsill and leaves a couple of cartridges on the window ledge.
There you go. Don't care, don't I? There you are. Only a bloody idiot would bother a mother who's defending the children, and she's got a shotgun.
I don't like that gun in the house. I'll never forget when you left it in the kitchen and the cat knocked it over. When it went off, I was really scared. It could have killed one of our children, Jack.
Well, it didn't, did it?
No, Jack, it didn't. But the hole that was left in the kitchen ceiling is still there to remind me of that day.
Jack is on the bed smoking. Something's on his mind.
Yeah, well, I've been coughing up a bit of blood lately. I saw Dr. Madison the other day and he says I'll have to keep out them kilns for a month or two. He said it's all that brick dust. I suppose I'll go back to the farm labouring for a while, but the trouble is there's no money in that.
Jack, at least the kids will have milk and bits and pieces from the farm. Mrs. Geddy gave them sweets last Christmas. Wasn't that kind? The brickhead is slowly killing you, Jack. And why, oh why are you still boxing? It's a dangerous thing to do, especially on top of a kiln. I know you do it, Jack. I've been told you do.
What the hell are you prattling on about now?
I know, Jack. You fight with no holds barred. You sometimes take on all comers, don't you, Jack?
Look, I'll tell you what, if I find out who told you that, they'll be for it.
I'm telling you, Jack, if you think I'm giving anyone away, you've got another thing coming.
Jack clenches his fist.
You never hear me, Jack. Are you gonna start that stuff now? God wouldn't like you, Jack. He'd punish you for it.
Jack straightens out his fingers.
Just let me find out who's been gossiping, that's all. I bet my sister's been at it again, has she? I'm right, aren't I? I'm sure of it. I'll not be dropping any more chickens round to her for a while, I can tell you.
I love you, Jack, and I care for you. You want me, Jack. You chased after me when my father was after you with his gun. You weren't afraid of a thing then, Jack. Remember the Stony Stratford Fair, where you snatched our cigarette out of his mouth? And then, what was it he said? I remember it well, Jack. Ruth's mine. I felt so sorry for you then. Your father had cleared off with another woman, and you had to give your wages to your mother so she could feed your brothers and sisters. You had plimsolls on your feet with holes in them. Oh, Jack, how terrible that must have been for you.
Look, just sit back, God, will you? I just don't want to hear about it.
You come home tomorrow, won't you, Jack? Don't you forget what the doctor said about your lungs. Farm life will be better for all of us, Jack. You know it will.
Ruth holds Jack's arm so he cannot avoid being kissed.
Those people from London have new council houses, Jack. It's so terrible for us here. Why won't the council let us have one?
Oh, for God's sake. Those houses aren't for us, no matter how we live. They've been built specially for the families who were bombed out of London.
Don't get me wrong, Jack. I do feel sorry for them and how they must have struggled, but so have we. I feel mean saying it, but I will. They were bombed out into new houses while we lived on with rotten floorboards and windows that let the weather in.
Ruth steps away from Jack, wiping her eyes.
You have to get us out of here, Jack. You work hard, but you gamble your wages. We aren't any better off. You quit farm work for brickwork money, but there's next to nothing to show for it.
Jack goes to the window again and he looks to the sky.
See, the weather's on the turn. Anyway, I thought you said you only had flour and spuds. I saw a pot of stew and dumplings when I came in. Where did all that steak come from then?
Well, Mrs. Beagle came up with 2 tins of stew steak. I told her you didn't like charity, but she wouldn't take no for an answer.
Oh look, you and the kids won't starve. Not when I've hung up 2 pheasants on the back door, and not when...
Jack throws a pound note on the floor.
There you go, that should stop you grumbling for a while. Come on, get the grub up, I'm starving.
You're always starving when you've had your way.
Before Ruth leaves the bedroom, she takes the shotgun and hides it under her bed. In the living room, we see an old piano, 2 wooden chairs and a kitchen table. A torn leather settee by the fireplace. Some cheap pottery animals are on top of the tiled fire surround. And above that is a Landseer print of the monarch of the glen. Ruth is playing a very old piano and she is singing.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. The purple-headed mountains, the rivers running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all.
Ruth hears knocking and opens the door to Mr. Batchelor. The school attendance officer smiles at her.
Hearing your singing, it's done me good.
Mr. Batchelor, please do come in. There's tea in the pot.
He is led to the settee and notices the pot on the fire.
You know, it's so good to see that the chimney's been cleaned.
Mr. Batchelor, the old crow's nest has gone. Jack poured some petrol in the grate and then set light to it. I thought the house would burn down. Thank God I wouldn't have to do the cooking outside anymore.
How do you manage? How do you do it? The well's blocked and you have to go to the standpipe down the lane for your water. And there's no electricity at all out here. If I have anything to do with it, you'll be out of here before much longer. Mrs. Fountain, where are your children?
They're playing. They'll be home soon.
Are your children getting enough to eat, Mrs. Fountain?
Well, I do my best and I go without myself sometimes.
So, how often is that?
There is silence before Ruth answers him.
Well, it's like this, Mr. Batchelor. Come the middle of the week, I can be down to a few potato cakes.
My dear Mrs. Felton, I nearly forgot. When I became distracted, I put your bag of groceries by the door. Before I came here, I saw your mother, who asked if I'd bring them to you. It doesn't help, does it, Mrs. Felton? I mean, that track up to this cottage, it's in an awful state. I had to dodge from one pothole to another. All the rain we've had lately, has made it impossible for me to come out any earlier. I'd have needed a tractor. And I'll tell you what, my department won't supply tractors. I'm just a mere school attendance officer.
Ruth smiles at this joke. Mr. Batchelor leaves the room and he comes straight back in, carrying a bag of groceries, which he leaves on the floor. He then makes himself comfortable on the settee. A cup of tea is handed to him.
I'll write my mother and thank her for them.
Look, there's no need to waste a stamp. If you wish, Mrs. Felton, give your letter to me and I'll see she gets it. I have to go back to her tomorrow to have a talk about your son, Francis.
Ruth sighs and brings out her handkerchief.
I need Francis here with me. Mother's told you, I know she has, that Jack's been on to her about it. Mr. Batchelor, Francis needs to be back with his mother. That's only natural, isn't it?
Mrs. Felton, this is no place for Francis. He is settled and he goes to school, which is much more than I can say for Peter and Matthew. Mrs. Meadows has seen Peter twice, and Matthew not at all. The vicar has tried to talk to your husband about your children's schooling. Do you know your husband was very, very rude to the vicar?
Ruth thinks a while before she replies.
In the war, Jack was evacuated to Devon. He was forced to say his prayers, and on Sundays, he had to go to church. Mr. Batchelor, he loathed that, and he hates it when I read the Bible.
Ruth didn't say Jack saw vicars as dogs in dog collars.
You're isolated here, and I know you've been waiting a long time for a council house. You've already moved 4 times in 3 years. You even lived in a Nissen hut on the Great Horde airfield with your mother-in-law, I do believe. Peter was born there, wasn't he?
I was scrambling with Jack's mother, brothers and sisters. That's when I accidentally poisoned my baby, and the poor soul had to go into an oxygen tent where he nearly died.
Oh, you've had it rough. You've been pushed from pillar to post with a sick baby, and later with toddlers at your feet, and that's just not right. I heard your husband stopped a Winslow council meeting to demand a house. After that had nothing at all to do with him.
Mr. Batchelor, seeing Ruth is embarrassed, alters course.
Now for some good news. I've been in touch with a Bletchley councillor friend who's told me that very soon now you're going to be offered a council house. As you are no longer living in Gurney's cottage, I'll personally bring that confirmation letter to you.
I've been praying for a house so hard for so long. I could pinch myself. I can hardly believe what I've heard you say.
She bends over Mr. Batchelor and kisses his cheek. Being very surprised, Mr. Batchelor just about manages to hold on to his tea.
Mrs. Felton, you're a miracle worker. How you've kept that boy alive with a chest like his just defeats me.
I pinned brown paper smothered goose grease onto his vest. It's an old treatment for very bad chests. It was Dr. Murphy who saw him. You must know Dr. Murphy.
I do, Mrs. Felton. He's the Winslow doctor.
Right. Dr. Murphy told me that I'd given Peter a large dose of mercury. When the good doctor pricked my baby, nothing happened. It was the teething compound that caused it. I was beside myself when Peter was teething. He screamed and screamed, and he kept hitting his head against the wall. Dr. Murphy rushed him to Amersham Hospital in his own car.
So how did you get there to see your baby?
Well, Jack's brother took us in his car. We went every week. Jack said his brother shouldn't have charged us for petrol, but I didn't think like that. It was very good of him to put himself out.
Mr. Batchelor looks at his watch.
Thank you very much for the tea, but I must leave you now. But I'll see you soon. No need to worry about the kids. They'll be given a fresh start.
Mr. Batchelor, I sent Peter to school, but he never gets there. It's the animals and the birds, you see, they distract him.
Mr. Batchelor leaves. Ruth goes to her sewing basket, threads the needle, then sits down and starts darning a sock. After a few stitches, she lays the sock she's been stitching on her lap. She looks up and talks and prays aloud.
A house? Thank heavens! Thank you, Lord, for never deserting me. I know I shouldn't have asked you for things. Lord, I truly believe in spite of my failings, you have a place for me in heaven. I'm worried about my husband, Jack. I wanted to tell him everything about Peter, but I just couldn't. If Jack knew I had caught him trying to hang himself on the bedpost, Peter would have got a hiding of his life. I just can't share that with anyone at all but you, Lord. I trust Mr. Batchelor, and I thought about telling him until I thought about it again. I couldn't bear if Peter was taken from me. I've lost one child already. Lord, so will you please see to it, I'll never lose another.
The door had been left slightly ajar, and Jack storms in.
You were mumbling something about me then, weren't you?
I was saying my prayers, Jack. My prayers are between me and God.
Yeah, but what was you saying to that bachelor man? It's my business, so you better tell me.
Jack, he told me we're being given a council house and we'll be out of here in no time. Isn't that such just wonderful news?
You're right. Come on, up you get. It's upstairs for you now.
No, Jack, it isn't.
What the hell do you mean by that then?
No means no, Jack. I've had enough. You treat me like one of those ladies.
Ha! One of those ladies? One of those ladies? You mean a whore, but you can't say whore, can you?
I'm not a thing to be used, Jack. I try to be a good Christian lady.
A good Christian lady? What about that bloody eye tie? A greasy Italian got round you, didn't he?
Jack, you're so cruel. I loved him. He was going to marry me.
Ha! Well, he didn't, did he? He stuck you in the family way and then he buggered off back to Italy.
Ruth breaks down in floods of tears. We watch her until she composes herself. Jack stands watching her with his arms folded, and he says nothing.
His son is Francis, Jack. And one day I'm going to Naples and I'll tell Joseph Melly he has a son.
Ha! Naples my arse, you bloody stupid woman. All pipe dreams, just bloody pipe dreams.
The evil in you knows slow bounds, Jack. But that won't stop me from praying for you, Jack.
Yeah, but you know what you did. The old bloody village knew what you did.
With his iron grip, Jack pulls Ruth towards the stairs. Ruth falls to the floor.
You have to drag me to get me up there, Jack.
Jack's face shows his anger.
Fuck you then. I'm out of here to earn some money. Someone's got to keep you, and that's because I'm the sucker that married you. And by the way, I do believe you were about 5 months pregnant when I married you, or was it 6?
Ruth is still on the floor. She covers her ears until Jack finally goes. Peter comes in and throws his arms around his mother.
Mum, Dad's upset you again.
Yes, Peter, but he never hits me, so never say he does that.
You hurt just the same, Mum. I know you do.
That's true, Peter. I really do. But never forget when your father finds Jesus, and he will, then you'll see all the goodness in him. It's in everyone, Peter. It's just that bad that gets a hold on your father, that old devil, you know. We must fight him, and we must pray for him. Shall we say a prayer for him tonight?
Not until after The Little Mermaid, Mum. You said you'd read it to us again.
I will, and the prayer, Peter.
The Lord's Prayer?
Yes, the Lord's Prayer. Now you go and run up with your brothers. It's time they were in.
Mrs. Beagle raps on the window and Ruth opens it.
I was out with Bert for the watercress when we found your boys, and what a state they were in. They were damming up the brook and Bob Spink was helping them to do it. When my Bert asked what Bob was up to with your boys, he said they were beavers and they were building a lodge. That Bob, he's so crazy.
So where are my boys now?
That's it, you see. They're still at the bungalow. I just couldn't bear the thought of them coming back to you in such a state. They were so soaked in mud. I took them to my place without thinking. I've given them a really good bath and scrubbing. Their clothes have to dry out, so I've told my Bert to bring them up to you in an hour or so. I do hope you will forgive my forwardness, Ruth. You know, I would love to have children of my own. And Ruth, my dear, just one more thing. You won't mind if they have tea with us one night next week? Just send them down about 6.
Your kindness knows no bounds, Mrs. Beagle. Do come in.
No, I must get back to make sure that Bert hasn't put damp clothes on your little ones. Damp clothes on dry children. Oh, that asks for trouble. You must never do that.
I'll send my Peter down. That'll save your bet the journey.
Oh no, it's no bother. He'll bring them back. See you soon.
Ruth sits with a cup of tea and sings. Peter listens.
I want to know where the sweet flowers grow. I know you know where the sweet flowers grow. I've looked in the east, I've looked in the west, I've looked in the south and done my very best. I've looked in the wind, the rain and the snow. I know you know where the sweet flowers grow. So please won't you tell me so my love can grow?
Ruth looks lovingly at Peter.
I made that little song up last night just before I fell asleep. Have you tried to make up any songs, Peter? Maybe one day you'll be able to write a song or even a poem. Perhaps something about your cat Blackie. In fact, I feel it in my bones. You'll do just that.
The room becomes darker and the oil lamp is lit. Ruth's washed and scrubbed children suddenly rush in. They are followed by a cautious Bert Beagle. The children throw themselves at their mother. Ruth picks them up as she kisses them both.
Your angels are safely brought home, Mrs. Felton.
They're tired, Mr. Beagle. I'm putting them to bed. Peter, I don't think your father will be back. See, Mr. Beagle has a cup of tea.
Ruth offers her sleepy children to Mr. Beagle to kiss.
Children, say thank you and good night to Mr. Beagle.
Thank you, Mr. Eagle.
And
They're so tired that the good night isn't further pushed. Ruth returns from putting Matthew and Mark to bed.
Peter, I need to have a private word with Mr. Beagle.
Ruth scoops some stew from the pot.
Peter, this is for you. Please go and eat in the kitchen.
Peter leaves with a bowl of steaming stew. Ruth waits a moment before shouting after him,
It's a fresh loaf, Peter. Please cut it nice and straight, will you? He loves bread soaked in gravy more than bread and lard.
They both laugh at Ruth's joke.
He also likes a certain comic, I understand. I've often seen him walking down that track with his head stuck into it. It's the Oxburgh, I believe. Does he have trouble reading, Mrs. Felton?
Yes, he does. I've tried to get him to read. I really have. He's such a dreamer, but he tires so easily. Words baffle him. It's all because he loves to be read to. When we have a house with electricity, we'll have a radio. He'll love all the stories that come out of the radio.
So, he just looks at the pictures in the comic then?
He makes up stories about the pictures he sees. Only the other day, he told me one about Eric the Viking. When I read the story to him, I thought his tale about Eric was the better one.
Ruth pours Mr. Beagle his second cup of tea.
If you wish, my dear, you can call me Bert.
Bert, I'll always keep thanking you and Mrs. Beagle for all the kindnesses you've shown us. Whatever would we have done without them?
Ruth takes a breath and holds her hand close to her heart.
What I have to say is gonna hurt, but I have to say it.
Mr. Beagle goes over to her and touches her shoulder.
Now, my dear, don't go upsetting yourself.
Ruth takes a deep, audible breath.
Bert, we'll be moving soon. I've been told that the Bletchley Council are about to offer us one of their houses in Simpson. There'll be a bath and an inside toilet, and I can hardly believe it. Electricity.
Mr. Beagle's face looks very strange.
Yes, but you know, Ruth, you know how we love those children, don't you?
That's why I trust them to be with you, and I'd have loved or liked to have seen them much. I'd have liked you to have seen them much more. But you know how Jack can be. He would have made trouble for you. He doesn't like anyone knowing our business, and he tells the children never to talk to strangers. They haven't told him they've ever been in your bungalow. He hardly speaks to them, and he never gives them a cuddle. I know you and Mrs. Beagle do. But Bert, I believe when we say children shouldn't speak to strangers, what we are saying is, don't speak to people. How awful is that? I tell them to speak in a polite manner to everyone.
This is gonna break Mrs. Beagle's heart. She especially loves that young Mark of yours. You will send them down to us before you leave. Promise me that you will.
Later, Mr. Beagle, who is walking back home, suddenly hears Peter.
Mr. Beagle! Mr. Beagle!
Boy, what a surprise. It's me who should see you home, not the other way round.
I was listening, and I heard what Mum said, and I thought for a while, and I just had to catch up with you before you got home.
What is it, Peter?
It's my cat, Blackie. I've buried him under the oak tree. Will you please check on him from time to time and see that my wooden cross and stones stay where they are?
Mr. Beagle scoops Peter up and he kisses him and fights to hold back his tears.
Of course I will, my son. Of course I will. You can count on that.
Mr. Beagle puts Peter down.
Now, be off with you. Hurry up or your mum will wonder where you've got to.
Although it was a blue-coloured night that makes visibility good, Peter runs slap into his father, who had been making his way home from another direction.
Whoa, not so quick, you rascal. What is it you're up to?
Peter is too terrified to say a word.
So the devil's got your tongue, has he? And I'll tell you what, he needs knocking out as well.
Peter then saw many stars. Jack had very large hands. Mr. Batchelor was as good as his word. He handed Ruth a set of keys and the rent book for the new property. The house would be in a village called Simpson, which was just outside Bletchley. The address on the rent book was 12 Abbey Road, Simpson. The name Abbey Road pleased Ruth, as she had linked her praying to a final result brought about by God. There'd been quite a wait for the rent book. A lot had happened in the week before the departure. Jack had come home and had faced his wife. Jack was battered and bruised. Luckily, the children were out playing. In Jack's pocket, unknown to Ruth, was a large wad of pound notes.
Jack, you've been boxing again. How could you? You know what state your lungs are in.
Look, give me a hug, will you?
What's come over you, Jack?
Jack starts crying and Ruth's astounded. So she stands well away from him.
Come here, I need you.
It's not one of your tricks again so you can take me to bed.
No, not that. I just want to hold you.
Ruth softens and she rushes over to him.
Jack, what is it?
I've killed a man.
You've what?
Ruth holds Jack as he sobs. Jack moves away and pulls a chair out from the table. Then he sits holding his head, looking down at the floor. Ruth pulls up a chair and waits for him to talk.
That Zeus arranged it. He made the bet and I fell for it.
Jack is quiet again.
You tell me in your own good time, Jack.
Yeah, but I can hardly think straight. All this has cramped me guts. I've got to get it off me chest.
Jack, looking at the floor, starts shaking. Ruth puts her arm around his shoulder. When the shaking stops, he talks again.
Look, the bet was I couldn't outbox Kalinsky. He was champion in the Polish army. A lot of money was put on him and not much on me. I bet all of me wages that I could have him. I got 3-1, look.
Jack drops notes from his pockets onto the floor. He stares at them. Ruth picks up the money and she puts it on the table.
The fight took place on top of Kiln 2. He was clever, that Kalinsky, and I took a lot of income in, I tell you. Because most of the money was on him, they cheered him and not me. Well, I tell you, that really got me dander up then. I was always pushing him away, just pushing him away. We were supposed to fight in the dust circle. I was fed up with all the holding, and I shoved Kalinsky away from me. I just kept pushing him and punching him. I didn't hear Yasinevsky shouting, "Stop! Get back in the ring!" I couldn't stop, and I punched and I pushed Kalinsky right off the top of the kiln. You could have heard a pin drop. Then they told me Kalinsky was dead. Well, the men covered it up. Captain Mells was told Kalinsky's fall was an accident. They said he tripped over some bricks that should never have been left up there. If anyone lets out what really happened, I tell you what, I'm done for. The police will soon find out that Yasinevsky was the ref and that he'd shouted to me to stop. After the police discover that, I'll tell you what, I'll be charged with Kalinsky's murder.
I'll pray for you, Jack. And if that unfortunate man has a wife and family in Poland, I'll pray for them too.
Ruth can see that Jack is now more relaxed.
It was an accident, Jack. You won't go to prison, not if you come clean, and get yourself a good lawyer.
Are you bloody raving mad? Why should I take that chance?
Because it will be the right thing to do, Jack.
Jack takes the money off the table, all but one note.
Well, I've done with it now anyway. It's out of my system. Never, ever mention any of this business to anyone.
Ruth moves away from him, fetches her Bible and begins to read it. Jack leaves with the money. We next see Jack sitting in the Pole Camp canteen. He is playing poker. There are 6 of them. 3 are Poles, 1 is a Romanian, 1 Ukrainian and 1 a Russian. All of Jack's money is on the table, and it's finally on the turn of the cards between Jack and the Ukrainian. Jack is called, and he turns up a straight flush. The Ukrainian beats it with a royal flush, and the Ukrainian takes all the money.
It's not your week, is it, Jack? So, Jack, you may be lucky with your fists, but not so much with cards. Bring your bike next week. I look forward to riding it into Bletchley. After I'll ride up to Wadden and treat you to some vodka. In the Lamb's Arms, eh? What about that, eh, Jack?
It was time to say goodbye to Bob Spick, the down and out who worked for farmers on a strictly cash basis, but only when he felt like it. Bob studied nature, usually from a ditch. He had 1 front tooth missing, and his face was a weather-worn one. Bob was about 50 or 60. Nobody knew his age. Bob certainly didn't. Peter sees Bob at the top of a hayrick.
Bob, what are you up to?
Take me hand, boy, you'll see.
Peter is pulled up, and then he drops with Bob into a little hideout that has been scooped out at the top.
I've been here for days, so the deer, they don't see me. I can see them. They're a sight to behold. At first light, they're really something.
Peter nestles down with Bob inside his hideaway.
Oh, Queen Bess, she ain't hunting here. Pop your head out, and you can see it from here.
See what, Bob?
The old oak. met Spencer by it. Him who wrote about the Fairy Queen. It was all about her, you know.
Bob, it's so horrid. We're going soon. Dad's got us a new house. And Mum, she's over the moon about it.
So, I won't be seeing you little ones anymore.
Bob, we've had so much fun with you. I'll never forget you.
I'm going to give you something. Just a little thing so you won't never forget me.
Bob brings out a lunchbox. He opens it and Peter sees a dead red admiral butterfly.
We found it, and I've had it for a very long time. You have it now, and you have it with all my love.
Wow, thanks, Bob. Bob, where did you come from?
Okay, I'll tell you. I come from here. I come from there. I come from everywhere.
I wish you could come with us, Bob. It was you who told me about the stars in the sky and how to look at the moss on the trees and where the sun comes from so I'd never be lost.
Oh, thank you, my little friend. I do thank you.
A noise is heard, and it's not too far away. It's the farmer who has come for his hay. Bob and Peter climb down and nip into the wood. Together, they watch the end coming to Bob's hideaway.
I need to be on my own now, Peter. You'd better be off now, my friend.
When Peter arrives home, he tells his mother about his adventure with Bob in the hayrick.
Remember, Peter, you'll not find a better man than Bob Spink. The countryside with him in it is a better place. He brings to mind something precious and very old that has been lost from our memories. Yes, Bob is that root and branch. He is life itself.
Peter has no understanding about what his mother has just said.
Bob's my friend, Mum.
The day has come for the move. An empty brick lorry would be transporting their furniture to Simpson, which was only a few miles away from Fletton's work. It was here that Jack earned his money, taking bricks from kilns that were breathtakingly hot and where a thick dust covered the floor. Here, his raw hands were protected by rubber, cut and shaped from old car inner tubes. It didn't take long to load the furniture, and then Jack and Peter went on ahead in the lorry. The rest of the family would be coming later in Mr. Batchelor's car. Before the lorry disappeared along the track that would eventually come out near the village hall, Peter said his final farewell to Blackie, his cat, and he crossed himself. Mr. Batchelor had decided to break the rules. He had saved Ruth the embarrassment of being transported with her two little children in a dusty old brick lorry. A time was agreed to pick Ruth up, which was to be outside the Beagles' bungalow. When Mr. Batchelor arrived, Mrs. Beagle opened the window and asked if he could wait while she said her goodbyes. Mrs. Beagle closes the window and turns to Ruth.
Ruth, my dear, we are not going to let you and the little ones be ripped from our lives. We will be coming to see you as soon as we can. That will be all right, won't it?
My door will never be closed to you and Bert, Mrs. Beagle.
Oh, we've bought you a little present.
Mrs. Beagle points to the parcel on the table.
Ruth, dear, go on, open it.
The parcel was unwrapped, revealing a brand new Ferguson radio. Ruth was taken aback, and there was hugging that could never go out of fashion. Mrs. Beagle pulled out a basket which had been hidden under the table. It held so many presents. The presents were all wrapped in brown paper and tied up with ribbon. They were for her little Matthew and her Mark. One present, though, wasn't wrapped. There'd been no need to wrap it. It was the new Hotspur Annual, the 1958 Hotspur Annual, which contains so many marvellous stories which would turn Peter's future dreams into a colourful wonderland. There could be no finer or fitting gift for such an imaginative boy.
I thought the lorry would come back the way it went. I would so have liked to have given Peter his present myself. My order with Mrs. Birch at the post office was late in coming. Mrs. Birch often saw your Peter. She said his eyes doubled in size when he saw her comics. Ruth might be, my dear, I do believe sometimes he was given one for nothing.
Mrs. Beagle kisses the boys, making their cheeks red. Ruth sees Mark gets extra kisses. Mr. Batchelor knocks on the door.
Oh, Mr. Batchelor, how rude. I should have asked you in. I've been so sad. You understand, don't you?
Of course I do, Mrs. Beagle. But we really have to go.
Mr. and Mrs. Beagle's eyes follow a car that climbs a hill that passes Wadham Hall until it disappears.
Oh, everything has disappeared, Bert, hasn't it?
No, we still have each other, my dear.
The keeper's cottage is no more. And no longer are the sounds of children playing in the old black barn or in that rippling brook that was full of watercress. That existed in a moment in time, a time when Bob Spink, a lover of nature, worked when he liked and was ridiculed for it. When a good lady had to cook and do her washing outside of an old semi-derelict keeper's cottage while keeping her dignity and loving her children. If you visit the Lowndes Arms in Wadham, enjoy a drink there and see the breathtaking countryside that is Wadham Chase. New pathways have been built that will take walkers past that old oak tree where Queen Bess supposedly once sat, listening to Edmund Spenser reading to her his Fairy Queen. Can what has been written about that family possibly be true? It seems far-fetched. No, it definitely wasn't true. Or was it?
When I was just a little girl, I asked
My mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, what will be, will be.
When I grew up
and fell in love, I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Will we have rainbows
Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera.
Well, we hope you all enjoyed the play that our talented writer, actor, producer, director prepared for you this evening. And this was its fourth performance. Mel, just a clap on your nose. Tea and coffee are available now that the play is over, and we hope you'll stay and enjoy tea or coffee and chat with us either about the play or about something else. And there's no charge. There's no charge to come to the play. There's no charge for the tea or coffee. But Mel has said that if you would like to make a donation, he will give the money to the League of Friends of Bletchley Community Hospital. I happen to be chairman of the League of Friends of Bletchley Community Hospital, which is the community hospital is in Whalley Drive. It's a sort of intermediate centre. People who are in there are not ill enough to be in the general hospital, but they're not well enough to go home. But it's a very useful facility. And Mel has kindly donated the money from previous tea and coffee at the previous performances without us saying what was going to happen to it. But he said tonight, because he got something else to do, would I emphasise it and tell you that if you do give something, it will be going to a good cause. Thank you.
University to become the best nurse in the world. Anita, fantastic. Voice off. Thank you so much. Where's the lovely lady that does the teas for us? The most essential one.
Mary. Oh, Mary.
Yes, Dane.
There you go. Hey.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Mary.
I have to, all right.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Mary.
Great.
Lovely, thank
Lovely.
I had great trouble, as you know, getting here. The bus didn't turn up, did it? It was a nightmare. You still came. And you did pretty well, very well, incredibly well, all of you did. I thank you for, because I literally dragged most of you from your homes and off the streets and out of your colleges. I'm never worried about hierarchical stuff, I'll put people out of their colleges.
Yeah.
So that's my professor that over there, and Gordon, you're a brick, all right? An absolute brick. Anyway.